Hello, I'm Spoiler. In this episode we will look at the highest rated animated film of 2020. So, Joey is a part-time band teacher. He teaches band at a New York high school. One day the headmaster has good news for him. He wants to be promoted to full-time teacher. Joey's mother is the owner of a clothing shop. She is very happy to hear about her son's promotion. But Joey didn't want to be a music teacher. His dream was to become a jazz musician, performing on stage. One of Joey's former students called. He's now the drummer in the Dosia Quartet. The band was short of a piano player for a tour. Wanted Joey to try out. Joey's eyes lit up. Dosia was a big name in jazz. If he could join her band, it was a dream come true. In the end, Joey impressed Dosia with his smooth playing. And he was able to impress Dosia. He got the gig he wanted. Dosia asked him to come and play in the evening. Joey's heart was bursting with joy. His dream was finally coming true. Then, in his excitement, Joey forgot to look where he was going. He stepped into a sewer. When he woke up, he found himself as a little blue man, standing on a stairway to heaven. The stairway was rising on its own. At the end was a blinding white light. It turned out that Joey had passed out. His soul was about to enter the world after death. Joey was so upset. His dream was about to come true. He couldn't die today. He ran in the opposite direction. And he fell down the stairs. Joey fell onto a patch of grass. As far as the eye could see, many young souls chasing across the field. A man called Jerry told Joey, "This is where life comes from. Before people are born, their souls will be shaped here first. Some great men and women have achieved great things. After death, their souls are chosen as mentors to help the unborn souls build their personalities. Once the soul has a full personality, they will fly to Earth through a portal. Born as a human being, Joey went to the place where he was born. So the number of dead souls became one less. Terry, the accountant in charge of the count, discovered the omission. He worked meticulously, determined to find out who this soul was. So he started counting them one by one in the soul archive. Jerry mistook Joey for a mentor. So he drags him to a work meeting. Joey was totally confused. But he didn't want to go back up that ladder any more than he did. So he stole an entrance badge. He gets into the meeting. The conference leader gave a presentation to the instructors. It turns out you need a pass to get to Earth. There were 8 circles on the pass, symbolizing the different aspects of the personality. Only when the personality is complete and each circle is filled. The pass is only valid when each circle is filled. The task of the mentor is to help the unborn souls find their spark, filling the last circle. According to Joey, this spark is the goal and dream of life. He had a plan. If he helps the soul find the spark, he could take his pass. He could fly back to Earth to perform in the show and fulfill his dream. The staff began to assign souls to the mentors, but when it was Joey's turn, she refused to show herself. The staff dragged her out by force. She was assigned with Joey. This soul was number 22. She's a notorious pain in the ass. She has been tutored by many great men before. Galileo, Ali, Lincoln, for example. But no one could find the spark for 22. Her pass was never validated. Gradually 22 became cynical and hated Earth. She was not interested in going there for the rest of her life, and it was too much trouble. It was better to stay here and never be born. The two of them came to Joey's Temple of the Self. This is a record of Joey's life of inactivity. Joey explained that he wasn't really a mentor. He just wanted to get a pass to return to Earth. He wanted 22's help. 22 thought it was a good idea to give Joey the pass, so he wouldn't have to go to Earth. So Joey made the time to help 22 find the spark. The two arrived at the Hall of All Things. This is where you can experience all the things on Earth. Many unborn souls have found a spark here. Joey took 22 to try all sorts of things, all sorts of occupations. Putting out fires, painting, experimenting. Librarian, athlete, astronaut, president. But 22 doesn't seem to be interested in anything. Compared to the great mentors 22 had before him, Joey was a nobody. Life was boring and pathetic. But now he wanted to go back to that life. And that made 22 curious. So she decides to help someone out. She took Joey to the space of forgetfulness. When a person is completely absorbed in something, when a person is fully immersed in something, their soul enters this place and they reach a state of oblivion. But there are some people who get too involved. They lose their souls, they become obsessed. They end up completely trapped in this place and become terrible monsters. 22 took Joey to meet his friend Wind of the Moon. Moon Breeze is a sign holder on the streets of New York. A sign bearer with 0 hours. His soul travels in a big boat through the space of oblivion, dedicated to helping lost souls get back into their bodies. He opens the portal to Earth. He helped Joey locate his body. His body is in hospital, in a coma, with a cat on his knee. Desperate, Joey didn't wait for Moonwine's instructions. He jumped down immediately. He ended up knocking the 22 next to him down too. When Joey woke up, he found that he had fallen into the body of the cat. And it was 22 who had entered his body. To get things back to normal, the two of them left the hospital to find Moonbreeze on Earth 22, who didn't want to come to Earth in the first place. Disgusted by everything around them. The streets, the noise, the crowds. She was scared to be a human for the first time. So she cowered on a street corner, not wanting to go anywhere. That's when Joey brought her a slice of pizza. The first time she tasted food. She was in a better mood and went on her way. The two of them found the Wind of the Moon and asked him to find a way. The Wind of the Moon made a deal with them. A body exchange ceremony at a club at 6.30. Joey took 22 home. He was to change into a clean and tidy suit, complete the body swap, and then go to the show at 7 p.m. On the other hand, Terry the accountant has found out that the missing dead soul is Joey. He plans to go to Earth and get him back. Joey takes 22 to get a haircut. Des, the barber, gave 22 a lollipop. Joey tells 22 Des was a born barber. His spark must be hairdressing. But it was only during the conversation that he found out Des's dream was to be a veterinarian. Desperate to make money to feed his daughter. That's why he became a barber. But he wasn't unhappy that his dream had been dashed. Being a barber has allowed him to meet a lot of interesting people. He feels very happy. Talking to people opened up 22's heart. She is slowly adapting to human life. Her attitude towards things around her, and from disgust to curiosity. She was like a child, tearing up small advertisements from street lights, touching the pavement fence, lying in the air vents and blowing in the wind, letting her hat blow away. But when she went to pick up her hat, her trousers were accidentally ripped open, a big hole in her bottom. So Joey had to take 22 to her mum's clothes shop. Joey's dad was a musician too. Mum cut up his old gig clothes and gave it to her son to change into. Joey and 22 waited for Moonwine at the appointed place. 22 sat down on the street and starts to look at all the little things around him. A father walks by holding his daughter's hand. Two good sisters chatting on the corner. The breeze brushes the fallen leaves on the ground. A flower petal from the top of a tree overhead flies into 22's hand. Joey asks if she is ready to leave the Earth, to go back to where she came from. But 22's mind has changed. Through Joey's body, 22 experienced many interesting people and things. She thought life on Earth was bad and boring. But now she loves it here. This day on Earth made her feel like her spark was close at hand. The Wind of the Moon had finally arrived. Joey told 22 to get ready to swap bodies. But at this point 22 said no. She felt that staying in Joey's body was her only chance to find the spark. 22 runs away. Joey chases her all the way to the underground station. That's when Terry the accountant came to Earth and found them. The two fell into Terry's trap. They are recaptured and brought back to where they came from. Joey and 22 start to argue. But to everyone's surprise, 22's spark had been found. The last circle is filled. The pass is finally validated and she can go to Earth. But 22 still doesn't know what her spark was. In accordance with the procedure, Joey, as mentor, sees 22 off. The two arrived at the entrance to Earth. Joey said indignantly, "The spark that fills the circle must be Jazz. That is, Joey's spark, and not 22's own. It was only because 22 was in Joey's body. That's what made it work." So 22 gave Joey the pass anyway. Joey was back in his own body as he wished. He went on to perform one song after another. Joey played with great pleasure, and the audience applauded. But after the show was over, Joey wasn't as happy as he thought he would be. Today was the day his dream came true. It was the highlight of his life. He thought he was going to have a great feeling. But it wasn't. He asks Dosia what's next. Dosia said, "The next step is to come back here tomorrow night and to repeat what had happened." Joey came home lost, tapping aimlessly on the keys. Seeing the item 22 had left in his pocket, Joey had a sudden idea and put them on the piano. The leftover lollipop, a kindness from the barber, a blue spool of thread and a small tear-off ad, a record of his mother's kindly back, and 22 looking up at the sky as a child. These small objects remind Joey of his experiences with 22, the ordinary and intimate everyday life. Riding his bike on a summer's day, watching the fireworks from the rooftop, giving music lessons to students, playing the piano with his old father, and watching the sunrise over the buildings. These memories and thoughts are turned into melodies, the melodies flowing naturally through Joey's fingers, tears flowing silently on his face. Joey picks up the petals that fall on 22's hands. He finally understood. The spark that activated the past was 22's own. The spark is not a goal in life. It's the moment when life brings you joy. The moment that makes you want to live. He plunged into playing the piano, into the space of forgetfulness, trying to find 22 again. But the wind of the moon told him. Because there was never a spark, 22 felt there was something wrong with herself. She fell into extreme self-denial. Became a lost soul, turning into a monster and wandering around. 2 men found 22. Hooked her with a rope. But 22 dove into the ground. Dragged Moonwine's boat underground. Joey pursued 22 with a vengeance. And finally put the petals in her hand. 22 said, "I'm not good enough to live. I haven't found the spark yet." But Joey told her. She had found the spark. And by the time she was ready to live, and the last circle was filled, Joey's encouragement finally opened 22's heart. And the body returns to its original state. Joey gives 22 her past back. But in doing so, he could not return to Earth himself. Joey said, "It's okay. I've had a taste of life. Now it's your turn." Joey takes 22 and jumps from the portal. 22 flew to the blue Earth. And her life began. At the end of the story, Joey's soul returns to the stairway, preparing for the world of the dead. But Joey's actions inspire not only 22, but also Jerry, the administrator of life and death. So they decided to reward him with one more life. Jerry asked Joey, how would he choose to spend this life? And Joey said, "I'm not sure, but I know that this time, I'll enjoy every minute of my life."